Welcome to the Loyal Opposition Podcast. I'm Bernie Flowers, one of Uncle Sam's wayward sons. I'm here to help you sort through the chaos and to keep it real for America's middle class. So if you're into protecting freedom, giving bad policy a well-deserved roast, and making sure that our nation stays on track, well, just hit that like, share, and subscribe button. With that said, let's dive in. So, we're only a few days away from the end of Joe Biden's presidency. And honestly, I think we should send him a thank you note. Seriously. Joe has managed to turn this wonderful country into a case study for what not to do. It's going to take years to fix his mischief. But before we get started on Trump's victory lap, let's take a look at some of the biggest lowlights of the Biden administration. His greatest hits album, or better yet, his greatest failures. Let's start with Afghanistan. First up, remember when Biden pulled our troops out before getting the civilians and the allies out? What a doofus. He had to send troops back in just to rescue the people that he left behind. And if that wasn't embarrassing enough, he left billions of dollars of military equipment, and I said billions. He left it behind. What a jackwagon. Oh, Joe, did you miss the memo? Good job on making sure that the Taliban got their hands on some shiny new American gear. Yeah. The southern border. The southern border, as I remember, Joe Biden promised to not be so aggressive with immigration enforcement. It's almost like he thought people would just stop crossing the border if he looked the other way. Well, who doesn't want a free trip to the United States? Except it's not just families seeking asylum, it's gang members, human traffickers, and people straight off the terrorist watch list. I think I speak for everyone when I say, Joe, this is a national security risk, not a free vacation. And by the way, thousands of those people flooding into the country were unvaccinated. They were COVID positive. But oh, yeah, let's give them all a free pass and make sure everybody gets a mask on the way in. Really? Let's talk about inflation. The Biden tax is what I like to call it. Oh, yeah. Nothing says presidential success like watching your paycheck lose value faster than a busted balloon loses air. And if you've been to the grocery store recently, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, don't let me get started on supply chain issues. Not long ago, ships were sitting off the West Coast like they were waiting on a free vacation, while Americans got stuck paying the bill. Biden's big idea? Cancel the Keystone Pipeline, cost thousands of jobs, American jobs, while blowing up Russia's Nord Stream pipeline and destroying Germany's economy. Great job, Joe. You really got that America First stuff down, don't you? Now let's talk about identity politics, Biden's favorite hobby. He created a reality show where the prize was your job and the criteria for winning is race, sex, and sexual orientation. Now, I'm all for inclusivity, but when you're putting people in positions of power based solely on these factors instead of individual merit, we're going to have problems. And let's not forget the brilliant move of reinstating critical race theory training for federal employees, because when in doubt, let's double down on divisiveness. Great job, Joe. Let's talk about FEMA. Let's recap Joe's to-do list over the past couple of years. Now there's Hurricane Helene, came through the mountains of western North Carolina and all of our people got drowned. There's East Palestine, Ohio, where our people got gassed. Of course, there's the reoccurring western fires going on in Los Angeles and all points west because fire season is apparently a national holiday when it comes to Joe Biden. Oh, let's not talk about eating the dogs in Springfield, Ohio. Meanwhile, UFOs are buzzing over our head like Area 51. Joe's response? We'll get to it after my next ice cream cone. Seriously? It's like he's been sitting in the driver's seat of the country, but forgot to actually steer. Spectacularly poor job, Joe. Now let's talk about Trump and his first 100 days. So what's the future look like for Trump 2.0? Well, first, it's America's reboot, except this time we're going to have to cut out all the drama and start adding some more common sense. Now here's the checklist. First of all, we got to get Trump's nominees in. Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense, Kash Patel for FBI, Robert F. Kennedy for Health and Human Services, Tulsi Gabbard, National Intelligence Director, Trump's deportation czar, Tom Homan. He's going to send some of these prisoners back to their country of origin, round up these gangs and deport prisoners and launch a massive deportation of undocumented migrants. Can't wait to see it. Trump's going to impose huge tariffs on China, Mexico, Canada, and all of our trading partners that have been taking advantage of our generosity. The MAGA movement will be all about rounding up all the bad apples, and you better believe we're going to have some serious border restrictions to go along with that. Oh, let's not forget about Ukraine. That's got to be his first order of business. This war has to stop, and that Lazinski fellow, he's got to get right with Jesus, as they say. Our American taxpayer dollars have been wasted and wasted and wasted, and that's got to stop. And the woke mandates that Obama and Biden put in, that's got to stop. And this climate change stuff, that's got to go too. Bottom line, let's ball up everything that Biden did and burn it all down. How about that? Let's not forget about J6. There's a whole lot of pardons that need to happen, and I'm pretty sure that's pretty high on Trump's list. And those political enemies of his, don't worry, they're on the list, and I'm pretty sure he's going to get them when the time comes. So with that said, Biden has left America with a lot of damage, and it's going to take some serious work to turn things around. But I am cautiously optimistic about Trump's return. The plan? Let's get America back to the top, stop pretending that the world is a Marxist utopia, and focus on keeping America safe, prosperous, and sane. That ought to be enough for the first 100 days, don't you think? Until then, question everything. Well, that's about it for now. This has been the Loyal Opposition Podcast, produced in association with Fallback Productions and Veterans for America First. Please like, share, and subscribe as we try to grow the channel and protect America's middle class. Be sure to get your copy of my book, Black Values Matter, available as an ebook on Amazon, Audible, and Apple Books. And also, remember, it's okay to disagree. But if we want our country to prosper, we must insist on unity, transparency, and civility for ourselves and for our fellow citizens. Thanks for listening to the Loyal Opposition Podcast. We'll see you next week.